Vast majority of them are smokers. It is the single most stupid thing that a young person can do from the point of view of their heart.
You speak to any smoker, they know it's going to kill them, they know they're going to get cancer, they know they're going to get, you know, their lungs are going to seize up, they know they're putting themselves at risk, but it doesn't stop them because it's never going to happen to me.
So how do we know that your lifestyle affects your risk of heart disease? Well, the information comes from scientific studies that look for links between lifestyle and risk of disease. Millions of lives depend on the accuracy of these studies, but they're difficult to develop, tricky to carry out, and they don't always come to the same conclusions.
As a senior editor at one of the world's top medical journals, The Lancet, William Summerskill has to assess the value of thousands of studies every year. Many of these are epidemiological, looking for causes of disease.
The value of epidemiological studies is that they can provide large-scale observational information about what is happening in the world around us. And from these types of studies, one can identify clues which may help our understanding of illness progression or treatment.
We find out about studies published in The Lancet through television, radio and newspaper reports.
What I look for when I'm covering something is whether or not the study has been published as a scientific paper in a scientific journal, because that indicates to me already that it's gone through a process of what's called peer review, and that means that people who are not involved with the study itself but other experts have looked at the methods and the results and the numbers and said, well, that looks like a sensible study.
I think the most important factor in determining the validity of a scientific study is the design. And that encompasses everything from the calculations of how many participants there should be, who should be included or excluded, the ethical basis behind the study, and how the information is gathered, analyzed and interpreted.
One of the most important epidemiological studies into coronary heart disease is the British Regional Heart Study.
The British Regional Heart Study has been monitoring the lifestyle and health of thousands of people over the last quarter of a century. They've gathered compelling evidence about heart disease risk factors.
There are very large regional differences in coronary heart disease, heart attack in Great Britain. About a twofold difference between places like the south of England and places like Wales and Scotland. And we were setting out to see what made for these differences.
The reasons might happen either because individuals in further north in the country have certain characteristics, such as perhaps they're more likely to smoke, or it could be something about the environment they live in. In the 1970s, one of the thoughts was that it was to do with the hardness of the water supply.
It's easy to show a correlation between two things, but much harder to show that one causes the other. For example, that smoking causes heart disease.
The designers of scientific studies need to make sure that age, gender, ethnicity and lifestyle are all taken into account. Data must be collected from a large number of people, otherwise the conclusions aren't reliable.
The BRHS divided Britain into 12 regions and chose 2 medium-sized towns in each. GPs from each town chose some of their middle-aged male patients for the study, making a total sample of 7,000 people. Each participant was interviewed about their lifestyle and had a physical examination to measure things like blood pressure, body mass and cholesterol. Over the next 25 years, the doctors reported on the health of the participants' hearts. The study showed that environmental factors like water hardness were not a cause of heart disease. There was just a loose correlation. However, they did find some causal links. For example, participants who were physically inactive, smoked, had high blood pressure and high blood cholesterol were at a significantly higher risk of coronary heart disease. Other studies have shown the same patterns for British women, and the 10 Towns study has started to monitor the heart health of British children.
Some studies seem to show that alcohol is harmful for the heart. However, others have concluded that moderate drinking might be good for it.
The government has upped by a third the amount of alcohol it recommends men can safely drink each week.
There is now new evidence that women trying to have a baby should avoid alcohol.
Drinking French reds can help reduce the risks of heart disease and cancer.
So why do we see so many contradictory headlines about scientific studies in the media?
You're trying to sell your piece about red wine being good for you. And so, of course, what people are going to be interested in is the headline saying, right, great, drink loads of red wine now. Well, in fact, that's not what the research is saying at all, but you don't want to listen to what actually the research is saying. That's just going to be boring. Scientists always complain that you can never do science in sound bites. Whereas on the journalism side, you're always telling them, well, if you can't, then no one's interested, frankly.
Binge drinking can be very harmful to the heart.
In the 24 hours following the binge drink, the blood pressure, even in young people, rises very quickly to quite high levels. And we know, of course, that alcohol contains calories. Binge drinking is associated with putting on a great deal of weight.
Modern life can be stressful. Time is short, people are demanding. Many of us have long-term problems, depression, loneliness, family conflict, or just difficulties at school or at work. All of that can raise the blood pressure, increasing the wear and tear on the heart.
There are many different reasons why stress can increase the risk of heart disease. Not least because people who are stressed tend to be overworked or over-hassled. They don't have enough time to do the things they should be doing. They rush their meals, they eat poorly, don't have enough time to exercise. When they do get home, they want to chill out. The first thing they'd often do is turn to alcohol. The key to beating stress is to identify it and to realise that you're being stressed. The advice I give my patients is just to put yourself slightly higher up your own list of priorities. Write down the 10 most important things in your life on one piece of paper. Write down the 10 things that stress you out the most in your life. Now, if something's very important and it stresses you out, you're going to have to put up with it. And that's often the case sometimes with stressful jobs. But if the stressful thing doesn't appear on your important list, forget it. It's not worth worrying about.
A healthy diet and regular exercise will reduce your chances of having a heart attack. Smoking, drinking too much alcohol, and certain kinds of stress will increase your chances. We know all the evidence, so why don't we do anything about it?